Hi guys, it's Lucy, and today I'm going to be doing my September TBR and August wrap-up. Long time no see. There was a video at some point, but it was pre-filmed, so it's been a long time since I filmed. And yeah, I'm pretty out of practice, I feel like, but life's just been really busy. I moved, and then I moved again. Basically, I came home from California, and then a day later, I moved 4 hours upstate to my school again, and I'm in my apartment for the school year, which is a good time. I was not going to do an August wrap-up, but then I figured I'll just combine it with my September TBR because I only read 2 books in the month of August, which isn't like the worst thing ever. Like, that's more books than some people read in a year. The 2 books that I read this month also happen to be both written by Patrick Ness. It wasn't on purpose because I was reading a bunch of other books at the same time. It just so happened that the 2 books that I finished were by Patrick Ness. The first book that I read was The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. I actually do have physical copies of both of these books, but they're at home, not in my apartment, because I read them already, and it would make sense for me to bring books that I already read to school with me because suitcase space is valuable. The Rest of Us Just Live Here is set in kind of an alternate world where there are the indie kids who are basically like the chosen ones that you read about in all the stories. They're the ones that the aliens come down to or are saving the world. And then there are the regular people who are not the indie kids. They're just trying to live their lives as the aliens are invading or the zombies are coming, but they're just trying to live a regular life like you and me. And in the story, we follow Mikey, who is one of these regular kids, not an indie kid, and his group of friends who are also regular kids. I gave this book 3.5 to 4 stars. I gave it 4 on Goodreads, but it wasn't quite a 4-star for me. I found that the story was a little weird to get used to because this does kind of mash genres a little bit. Like, it's kind of like sci-fi, but also like contemporary because you are following the regular kids, and like this book has like a cool way of storytelling where you see what the indie kids are doing in kind of like little chapter headings before the actual chapter and what Mikey's doing and stuff. So you kind of get like 2 stories in one, but it was a little weird because you'll read about like someone coming from another dimension or something, and then Mikey's talking about like getting ready for a dance. But it was entertaining, and I did enjoy the book. It did shine a light on some mental illnesses that are not always discussed. There's OCD and an eating disorder featured in this book. I forget which one because it's been a while since I read it. And OCD especially, I feel like, is not talked about in YA that much. My main issue with the book was that it just didn't feel like anything special. It was entertaining to read, but I just didn't have any special connection to it. I didn't really connect with the characters, especially the main character, who a lot of the time I found pretty annoying, which I think may be kind of an internal problem for me because I'm slowly finding that I have trouble reading about teenage boys, or like when books are narrated by teenage boys, I tend to dislike it or tend not to like it as much, which I feel like I should do a discussion video on, but I don't know if that's like sexist or like whatever. But if you want to hear it, leave a comment. The second Patrick Ness book that I read in the month of August, and the second book and last book that I read in the month of August, was A Monster Calls, obviously by Patrick Ness, with the idea from Siobhan Vivian and illustrated by Jim Kay. So I did have the illustrated edition, which I do recommend you get if you decide to buy this book or take it out from the library. Make sure it's the illustrated edition because I can't imagine reading it without the illustrations. They really add to the story. But basically, A Monster Calls is about a boy and a monster knocks on his window. I don't want to give away too much because I think that a lot of the story is finding out what's going on, and I want you to be able to feel as much as possible while reading the stories. I finished this book in 1 sitting. It was actually on my second plane coming back from California because of course I had a layover because I cannot get on a plane without having a layover, and of course the layover was delayed, but that's beside the point. So I was reading this at like midnight on a plane, and I feel like that was the perfect atmosphere to read the book, which led me to being a little disappointed that I wasn't as emotional as other people described themselves being reading the book. If you can be in that environment, then I recommend reading it in that environment. I definitely recommend reading in 1 sitting. I think that's how you get the most out of it. I really want to do that, and I was lucky to be able to do that with this book, but I ended up giving it 4 stars. There's no real reason why I didn't get a 5-star. I didn't feel like it was a 5-star book, in my opinion. I can see how other people felt it. It's definitely an emotional read, and I did shed a few tears while reading it, but it just wasn't a 5-star for me. So Now onto my September TBR. So September is going to be a busy month for me because it's going to be my first full month of the semester of school. I'm a junior in college, in case you were wondering. For anyone who's not American, that's third year of college. And also September is my birthday month. I'm turning 20 on the 20th of September, which is so convenient, you know? This can only happen once in my life, where I'm turning the same age as my birthday. To the books that I'm going to read. So I'm currently reading 5 books, which is a lot. Especially for me, normally I try to read like 3 at most. My preference is 2, but I feel like I've been kind of slumpy lately and I just keep starting books and not finishing them. So yeah, my goal for September is to finish at least 3 of the books that I'm currently reading, and also I have 3 books that I would like to read from start to finish in the month of September, which I feel like this is ambitious because I haven't really been feeling like reading lately, so I don't know if that's going to change, and if it does, hopefully I'll read these. If it doesn't, then September's wrap-up will also be short. I'm going to do the currently reading books in the order that I would like to read them in. That makes sense. Like, I definitely want to finish the ones I talk about first, and the other ones I care less about. The first book is Tiny Pretty Things by Sona Charipotra and Danielle Clayton. This is about a ballet school in New York City, and it's kind of like Gossip Girl, I feel like, and like catty things going on and emotional things, and it's really good read so far. This is the book that I'm most actively reading. I'm a sucker for anything to do with dance schools or anything like that because as a former, technically current dancer, you know, I like that stuff. The second book that I am currently reading is The End of Fun by Sean McGinty. I received this book from NetGalley in exchange for an honest review. I just haven't really felt like reading it. Again, this might be my teenage boy thing again. I'm gonna try and keep reading it because I want to review it, but I'm like 30% of the way through and I've been reading it since like the beginning of August. The next book that I'm currently reading is The White Boy Shuffle by Paul Beatty. I've since learned a little bit about Paul Beatty, and apparently he writes a lot of books that are kind of like comedic commentaries on race, because I saw another book that he wrote and I completely forgot what it's about, but it sounded a little similar to like what seems to be going on this. I'm on page 10. Oh wow, I'm using a bookmark. What? I'm on like page 15, but I think if I like continue reading this, I'm just gonna restart because I don't really remember what was going on. This wasn't really what I was expecting, to be honest. The next 2 books I'm not expecting to finish in the month of September, but I guess it would be nice if I did. The next one is A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I've been reading this since June because I started it for the Tome Topple Readathon, and I did not topple this tome. I haven't actually opened the book in like a month, so there's that. It's so long and like stuff is happening, but like I'm kind of like I don't know. I'm definitely gonna finish this one just because I started it, but I don't know if I'm gonna continue on with the series. If you don't know what A Game of Thrones is about, then I don't know, turn on the TV. The last book that I'm currently reading is Dracula by Bram Stoker. I'm listening to this on audiobook. That's kind of loosely because I haven't listened to it in like a month again. I'm on like chapter 7, I think. And I can't really tell you what this is about because I still don't really know. The first 4 chapters were like a series of letters, and then the 3 chapters that I read were another series of letters, but like from different people. And I don't really know what's going on a little bit. Like I know what's going on, but like it's hard to explain for me. I don't know. It's probably not that complicated of a book. Okay, so those are all the books that I'm currently reading, and as you can see, that's a lot of books for me to try and finish. But you know what? I'm gonna add 2 more books onto that because, yeah, 2 books that I haven't started but would like to start and complete in the month of September is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I just got this copy. This did not break my book buying ban because I got it after I got to school. So pretty. I wanted a really pretty copy of Pride and Prejudice, and now I have it because this is my favorite classic, and I was supposed to read it for Read by Zoe's Jane Austen book club, but like this was the book for August. It's September 6th, so that didn't happen. But I would like to reread it so I can watch the movie finally. And the last book that I'm going to try and read in September is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This was on my TBR for August and like my readathon TBR, which was a failure, by the way. I forgot to mention that in my wrap-up, but I said I was going to take part and I did not at all. I think I made like 1 tweet about it. And yeah, so I didn't even bother counting my points because like there's no way I had anything. I'm sure it was a fun readathon for everyone who actually took part. I just was too busy and like wasn't feeling like reading that much, so. But this one, hopefully, I will read in the month of September. I've actually been hearing mixed things about this book now, but I would still like to read it. Those are all the books that I'm going to talk about in this video. Please be sure to like this video if you liked it. If you have any opinions about any of the books that I talked about in this video, the books that I wrapped up, the books that I'm planning on finishing / starting and then finishing, please leave a comment down below. And if you like seeing me talk about books, please be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make more videos where I talk about books. Sometimes it's not so much in a timely manner, but you know, it happens. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye. It's definitely emotion. I'm done. I am in. I don't think I was on this page. And it's no. Ow! I just hit my face with it.